Hey guys, welcome back. Arcane Factories Developers Diaries number 2. Today we have a different person, not Matt anymore. It's Justin and Jesse. Jesse is the rigger for Arcane Factories, but we welcome back again Justin. Of course, he's the head of Arcane Factories. He has to be here. Unfortunately. But yeah, this is day 3, day 4. Already?
It's quite a few days. It's like
it's a week 6. Already, right?
Yeah, it's like day 6, man.
It's almost a week now. It's almost 7 days. What's the progress, Justin? Let us know.
We are sitting pretty at 89% funded, so that's awesome. And thanks to everyone out there who's pledged so far. It means a lot to us, and we're gonna get there.
It's you just need that little push.
Yeah.
To make it.
The last 11%, and then we're in the clear.
Come on, let's go. I don't want to congratulate too early because I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm gonna help push.
Yeah.
And you also changed the stretch goal.
Yep. We realized we had a lot of people asking for the redemption engine.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just like, okay, look, if people really want this thing, we're going to make it easier for them to get. So we put it really close at 20,000. It's the very first stretch goal there. Mm-hmm. So once we hit that, it's just, hopefully people go and purchase that as an add-on. We'll try to give people exactly what they want. So
I heard after the first 5 days, that's when everything kind of slows down, and then the last week is going to go up again.
Yep. Well, we still have a lot of stretch goals lined up. We have all those miniatures, like the big guys. There's a famine in there as well, and we have 2 very, very special miniatures that we haven't shown anyone anything yet. I'm not going to say anything about it because I think Chung will probably start foaming at the mouth if he found out that we're doing this. But it's the thing that Chung's been asking for, but we just haven't been showing anyone what it is yet. We're talking about it.
And we can't even show it here yet, right?
No. It will be revealed in the last week of the campaign. That's
so
all I'll say.
Secretive, man.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's just right,
Now, this is the last question for Justin for tonight, actually, before we go and talk to Jesse. The ideas behind the miniatures. Probably about 30-40% is Asian theme, and then you see the steampunk, and then you see the fantasy, and then you see the gothic. It's all like everywhere. So, what are the ideas behind all those minis?
Well, we try to hit as many popular themes as possible, and then on a personal note for me, I think that there's a lot of different cultures that could be mixed into the design process that need to be represented on the tabletop. Like there's very few really, very Southeast Asian and Chinese themed pieces. When you see like an Asian themed army, it's mostly a Japanese kind of style with undead samurais. I mean, Bushido's got a fantastic line of miniatures as well. So it's usually that sort of stuff, but you don't really get to see too much of the Chinese folklore until Marrow Productions put out their stuff, but their stuff isn't 30 millimeter. Theirs is huge. Theirs is a different scale, so we want to do stuff that you can use for your tabletop war games at the right scale. That is Chinese theme. So yeah.
Now, this is like something that I heard over, across the pond and stuff. If you don't have a game, it's kind of hard for you to do Kickstarter. But personally, I've seen other people done Kickstarter without games. Like Bombshell Miniatures did it.
Yep.
And I mean, you guys did this to have alternative models for existing games originally, but eventually it's going to grow bigger and bigger, and eventually a game might be somewhere in the future, right?
That's right. We have a system in mind. It's just that we're really focused right now on getting the models right. There's no point having a game if your models don't look very nice to play with. And we want to make sure that people have the most attractive looking characters on the board that really stand out. So that's our main goal, is to show the quality of our miniatures first. And plus playtesting takes a very long time. people tend to not play test a lot of games properly. So when you get a game that's kind of being rushed out, doesn't matter how good the models are, the game itself doesn't play that well. So it comes out, it sparks, and then it just fizzles and it dies off. So play testing does take some time, and we want to get that right.
How fast the early bird went out, that shows how good the models are, right?
Yeah. There's actually 1 or 2 early birds left, so go get them while they still can.
Oh, some people dropped.
Yeah, some people dropped.
Last time I saw it was still there. I mean, it was out.
Yeah, but if you want those early birds, they're still there. There's like always like one, and then some guy will drop, and then some guy will go back in. Another guy will drop, and then some other guy will go back in. So if you missed out those early birds, keep a close eye. People tend to change their minds. I don't know why. But yeah, keep a close eye on that.
Their wife found out. Now, let's start talking to Jesse here. His position is called the rigger. I mean, in the animation world, the 3D animation world, it's pretty common. If you're not in the industry, like, what the heck is a rigger? Like, what do you need to rig in miniatures? So, Jesse, before we go into rigging, are you aware that there is such industry as a miniature industry, like war games?
I am aware.
Okay.
And all the Warhammer and all those myriad of games out there, I do know that it exists.
Okay. That's good. Unlike Matt, where he's just eye-opening for him.
Nope.
Are you actually a wargamer at all?
I'm not. I do play tabletop games, but none with miniatures. All just, standard board games. Not quite into the miniature painting and vast armies of characters.
So you're like my wife. She plays any nerdy board games as soon as the board is taken out, and then she's like, "No, that's too nerdy for me." Now, okay, what is rigging? Why? How is this connected to all this?
Rigging is just the system of getting everything in the model able to move. So this is one of the basic rigs for one of our female characters. There's no real details on it yet, but it allows us to pose her out before sculpting in all the details. So a miniature like this would be quite boring, standing there, arms at her side, legs straight. But being able to take these controls and moving her around, you can get the knees to bend, feet to move, just being able to get a more dynamic pose, or any pose at all, as opposed to just standing there. So it's going in through the software and making a skeleton within a model that's able to deform as we expect a human should, to be able to get the wrist to rotate around properly, to get the elbow to be able to come up and compress the bicep, just to be able to take our base model and put it in whatever pose we want for any character and be able to sculpt on top of it.
So the way that it's related to miniatures, basically posing, and in the future goal terms, that means alternative model will be a lot easier once, let's say Matt already sculpted all the armors and already put together on the rig, and you just have to repose it.
That's right. Pretty much. We have to repose it, and then we do a little sculpt cleanup on top of it, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and it could allow us to have multiple poses of the same character with ease. Instead of having to sculpt the same thing 4 or 5 different times, you have the base sculpt, you move it to a different pose that looks cooler, or someone requests even, and do a little bit of touch-ups, and we're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
That is really interesting. I don't know how often this is done in the newer, 3D sculpting for miniatures nowadays. Because the way that usually they do it, they just show on Kickstarter. They just show the pictures. Okay, these are the 3D prints or the 3D concepts or what we're gonna have, and that's it. That's about it. I think you guys are the first one to show that this is how we pose things for our models. So I think that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is talking about way in the future after your game's already made. Since you already have these kind of tools ready, let's say if you're going into making into a digital game like what War Machine Tactics is doing, you guys already have the base.
That's probably right.
Yep.
the models and stuff will probably need to be touched up a little bit more.
Yeah,
And
and
the
maybe in
rigs
the
can-
future the technology got better,
Mm-hmm.
so smoothing is a lot easier. Probably, I don't know. This is just guessing 5-10 years in the future, right?
Yeah.
You can pull
Yeah.
off a lot right now already. Getting adaptive subdivisions and displacement, and you get a pretty high triangle count in game engines and still working quite well. Of course, that depends on the scope.
For next gen software, we'll probably need to up the poly count.
Mm-hmm.
But for current gen, should be okay with what we have.
Mhm.
Just need to put on some really nice shaders, and it should be all right. Well, and hair and particle effects and all that sort of stuff. All the fancy bells and whistles.
So with this rigging, with this software, how far can you stretch the human body? Like, can you do like exaggerated poses that sometimes we see in miniatures?
Completely, yes. Although it's supposed to mimic what a human body can do, just because it's a human character, the only thing that really entails is having the joints in the right place.
Mhm.
Normal elbow, you can hyperextend it to maybe 5 degrees fast straight, but this guy, you can take it absolutely wherever you want.
Wow!
Break the radius,
Let's
break everything, crash the arm right through the body if we ever wanted to do that. We probably don't.
Nope.
Hey, that looks like Kingdom Death stuff.
Yeah, it's at its base, it's just a system for making a model that looks like a human move like it would be a human. But really, it can do absolutely everything. It could make another leg sprout out. We could have joints outside of her body so it moves around a strange point in space. Extensions, compressions, hyperextension, anything.
Mhm.
It's like playing with your G.I. Joe when you were a kid and posing them.
Yep. And then being able to take their head and just go, wee!
Oh my god!
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Now, does this work the same way with the big guys, or maybe the big guy started from this first and then you just stretch things out, right?
Are you talking about the Angel of Death miniature?
Well, that's one of them. I mean, except for like the centipede-looking thing. If it's humanoid kind of figure.
Well, Famine has multiple arms and legs, and the rig system that Jesse has built is so robust that you can actually have a character with multiple spines, multiple 10 legs, fingers with 30 extra fingers growing out of it. It can get pretty crazy. So yeah, that's the same system that we're going to plug into Famine. Hopefully he gets unlocked, and also War, and anything that's beyond the bipedal scope of things, the multipedal quadrupeds and all that sort of things we can do with this rigging system.
Yep.
Wow, that's really nice. All right, Justin, let's get on with backers' questions. What do we have?
Now, one of the most common questions that I've come across in the last few days, I have answered on the webpage, but I'll answer it again here in voice, is what size is the Angel of Death and what size is the Redemption Engine? Now, the size of the Angel of Death will probably be just over 5 inches tall. She's very tall.
Wow.
In terms of comparison size, we originally designed her to be a bigger, more badass version of the Necron Nightbringer, but you could also repaint her so she could represent something maybe Nurgly and rotted or something on the tabletop if you guys love your 40k. But because we're making her a little bit bigger than the Nightbringer model, she stands just above 5 inches tall, and then we're also doing a very nice built-in base, which is made out of all the shadow tendrils and the masts and things. That's going to become a nice stable base so it doesn't tip over. And that base itself can fit really nicely in a 60 millimeter circle, or if you want to make your own kind of scenic base on top of that or underneath that. And the Redemption engine, on the other hand, won't be as tall, but it will be kind of chunkier and wider. So imagine a super sci-fi, very slick, but dreadnought-sized thing. Again, for all you 40K fans, that's a little bit taller than maybe one of the Contemptor dreadnoughts from Forge World. Mm-hmm. That's roughly the size, just wider, because she's got that kind of crab-shaped shell that goes across like that. So that's the rough sizes that we can give you for now. We're still sculpting in the scenic bases and things, so, and we're still trying to tweak the sizes up and down so that it sits really well on the tabletop.
So if you guys have any questions at all for Arcane Factories, the developer diaries will always answer as much as possible. Right now we only have 1 or 2 questions, but later on, closer to the Kickstarter ends, and also after the Kickstarter finishes, we're going to have a lot more questions. Are we still going to be doing developer diaries? Because, you're not going to get your models right after the Kickstarter ends. I mean, yes, you do kind of want them to appear out of nowhere right after the Kickstarter ends, but it doesn't work that way, right?
No, we still got to go on and sculpt them, and then they're going to go off through the whole manufacturing process, and we're still on time, of course, for delivery in March.
Yep, and if you have any questions regarding, rigging or 3D sculpting for Matt or Jesse and whoever else is in the team, they have the list of the team member in the Kickstarter. But if you have any questions, just assign them, like, hey, I got a question for Matt, or hey, I got a question for Jesse. Now, for the next developer's diary, anyone else coming?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who's available. Hopefully get one of the 2D artists in. We'll see.
Cool. I can't wait to see the person who's developing all the, or creating all the Asian theme, because I'm a little intrigued by all of those.
Oh, there's a couple of us working on that. I do some of that too, so we'll see how many we can get in for that one.
Awesome. Thank you guys for watching Developer Diaries #2 with Arcane Factories. Thank you, Justin and Jesse, for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.